You know, I've never felt this way before. In pre-pandemic days, every Monday, a group of faithful men and women came to the church to count your offerings from this past week. As we sat down, the offerings were poured out on a table, and everyone began their duties in getting a tally of the gifts. Small talk ensued of various world and local events, which now pale in insignificance. We usually ended by commenting on how close we were to budget for the week. Yes, we were thankful, but not thankful enough. I feel like when we get back to church, every Sunday is going to be a new Thanksgiving. Yes, overwhelming thanks to see our brothers and sisters again, to catch up on families and friends, to study and worship together, and so much more. But you know, I'll also be brimming with thanks for just the little things, such as Carlos at the door, a bulletin in my hand, stained glass windows, and especially sharing communion. Although some of these things may look different for a while, especially my friends behind a mask. You know, as I saw the picture about a week ago of this drop box, many thoughts went through my mind. I'm thinking of 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verses 16 through 22. Let me read you just a portion of that beginning in verse 20. We take this course so that no one should blame us about this generous gift that is being administered by us. For we aim at what is honorable, not only in the Lord's sight, but also in the sight of man. I really miss those faithful men and women, and are so thankful for their dedication to see that your offerings were accurately recorded. But we continue to adhere to being accountable and faithful during these times, having two persons counting and recording your gifts, but it's not the same. You know, second, I'm reminding of Mark chapter 12, verses 41 through 44. Let me read you beginning in the middle of 43. Truly, I say to you, this poor widow has put in more than all those who are contributing to the offering box, for they all contributed out of their abundance, but she, out of her poverty, has put in everything she has, all she has to live on. You know, that's the story of the widow's mite. Some of the offerings that we're receiving today are truly sacrificial gifts. While it's easy to give out of our abundance, you know, it takes faith and love to give in a time of need. God measures offerings not by how much is given, but by how we use the whole 100% and by our heart. The widow in the story gave a heart gift in faith, and I'm seeing some heart gifts today too. Finally, I'm thinking of 2 Corinthians chapters 8 and 9. Let me begin in chapter 8, which says, We want you to know, brothers, about the grace of God that has been given among the churches of Macedonia. For in a severe test of affliction, their abundance of joy and their extreme poverty have overflowed in a wealth of generosity on their part. For they gave according to their means, as I can testify, and beyond their means of their own accord, begging us earnestly for the favor of taking part in the relief of the saints. Then on down in chapter 9, verse 7, each one must give as he has decided in his heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. Finally down, starting in verse 11, you will be enriched in every way to be generous in every way, which through us will produce thanksgivings to God. For the ministry of this service is not only supplying the needs of the saints, but is also overflowing in many thanksgivings to God. By their approval of this service, they will glorify God because of your submission that comes from your confession of the gospel of Christ, and the generosity of your contribution for them and for all others, while they long for you and pray for you because of the surpassing grace of God upon you. Thanks be to God for His inexpressible gift. You know, I think of the blessings that you will receive because of your faithful giving during this difficult time. I think of how blessed we are as staff to have been brought to First Baptist, to a loving people who love with more than words, but also put their love into action by sacrificial giving. I think of the ministries that will continue, the needs that will be met, and the lives that will be touched because you make it possible for us to minister in difficult times. And lastly, we, like Paul, will pray for you as we long for you and as we glorify God because of your generosity. So, until we meet again, thanks to God for His inexpressible gift of His only begotten Son. Thanks.